So hi, I'm Pat.
And I'm Jeanine.
Welcome to Live from the Lair. This week we have no guests. It's just me and Jeanine. I thought we should definitely try to get one of these in because it's the end of June, and I don't know if you know how long have we been doing the Zoom shows for? Do you know offhand?
Well, since the beginning of COVID, so what? Since March.
Well, actually, since May.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, this is 2 months of us doing this, and now that stuff is starting to open back up again,
yeah.
I don't know if we're going to keep doing the YouTube thing.
Right.
Or if have you talked to
I like
Hex?
the video. I want people to see my face.
I know it's. I mean, they're still hearing your voice. At least I feel like we're getting a little bit more. I don't know.
Fan base? Were you gonna say we're getting more fan base?
I mean, I think it's just it's
Yes.
why leave one of your assets on the table? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If we can fucking sexualize you and use you to bring people in,
yes, that's exactly.
I will pimp out all of my friends if I
Totally.
can to get more likes on the YouTube channel. So fuck it.
Goodness.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like when we started doing this, we did the YouTube. We started doing the YouTube version. We started back in May, kind of in response to the fact that we couldn't all get together to do the podcast as we were normally doing it at that point. And also because we wanted to talk to people about the whole COVID thing, and we were all isolated. Like everyone was like in these different cities, kind of locked up in their houses and shit, trying to figure out what was going on next.
And it was great to talk to people and
Right.
see how they were all feeling in different parts that were, some were hotspots, some weren't. So
Right.
that was exciting, and that's why I appreciated the video. It's better than talking to somebody on the phone. You get most of their emotions and things like that.
Right, and it was, if we had tried to do, like, I know when we were first talking about how we were going to do this logistically, the idea of doing a roundtable discussion with just like, I mean, what did we have at the most? Like 7 different people. Like, imagine 7 different disembodied voices, and you're sitting there in your car trying to figure out, like, who am I listening to again? Who's this person? Who's that person? It wouldn't have worked. But using Zoom, because you can, visually see everybody, it was easier to have multiple people do like a roundtable discussion.
Right.
But it looks like that's kind of, that era in human history could be drawing to a close now, because
I wonder how the Zoom stock is doing. It's probably like plummeting because we're opening that up
yeah,
again.
no one, yeah,
No.
everyone's kind of bailing.
You should invest now in Zoom stock because we're supposed to hit another COVID upswing or whatever.
Right.
So my advice to you is buy that stock now, and then once fall hits, hey.
My advice to you would be buy stock in Smith and Wesson or
Yeah.
Glock. I mean, I think if we're doing the Mad Money thing and we're giving stock market advice, invest in firearms.
Firearms, toilet paper. What else have we learned? Like nothing in the meat industry. That's obviously very fragile. What else? I feel like I learned so much. Oh yeah, a ton of people are buying pools this year.
I usually buy one of those cheap inflatable pools every summer for my kids, and then we tear the shit out of it and it's destroyed and it gets dirty, and then we throw it out and we get a new one the next summer.
Right. Yeah, but
no pools this summer. Sorry, kids.
Yeah. I work for an association now, and I've never seen so many. We're approving like architectural improvements is something that we have to look at.
Right.
And so many, we have like 180 applications, and like I'd say a good 40%, 30 to 40% are pools.
Right. So like that was something that I kind of wanted to kick off the show with, because like when this whole Zoom thing started, like you had not left the house. You were completely fucking isolated, and now you're going to work every day. So
I'm still paranoid as hell. Like I still haven't stepped foot into a store. Period. Not a grocery store, not a retail store.
I try not to either. Well, I went to Gurney Mills this weekend. We'll get to my shit in a second, but like, and I can't tell you, I mean, you're my age, like I can't tell you how fucking good it felt to go back to a mall. It was
I miss. Like I am buying, or I bought a couple articles of clothing because now that I have this new job, like normally when I start a job, it would be to backtrack a little, like this is a new job. Like this, I'm not back, I literally started a new job to kind of give some history. Like it's something where I've never done this exact job before. And nobody is there to train me, which is really fucking weird. Like everyone's too paranoid to do one-on-one training. So I literally got to the office And
yeah, walk me through day one. What was it like leaving your house that morning? Did you sleep the night before? Were you just like?
I practiced by going to my parents' house. And where else? I went to my parents' house. So my baby steps were the gas station first.
Okay.
I had done, like the month before, a couple weeks before, whatever. I've always thought gas stations are so nasty and dirty.
Yeah.
I wear a glove to pump my gas. So
okay.
I strategically take everything apart, and then I run my credit card with the glove on. I use the pump with my glove on. I'm very paranoid, basically. I'm very paranoid. So, I prepared the night before. I have all my sanitary type stuff, my hand job, my Purell. I have a spray bottle with just rubbing alcohol in it. So if I need to, I can just use that, or on anything I'm touching, like my phone and stuff like that. Just made sure everything that I was going in with was clean. So yeah, day one, so I work in like I said, an HOA. So I work in this 20,000 square foot community center, and they hired me back knowing that it would just be myself and then 2 other staff members. So we have to wear masks when we're in the building, and they issued us masks, they gave us a couple, whatever. And yeah, I walked into the building and we're wearing masks, and the one girl who's been there the longest, which pretty much everyone's relatively new within the last year.
Yeah.
And she walked me through the whole place, and I don't know, it's just nobody was there to train me. So I'm just opening up drawers, looking at what the last manager was doing, kind of piecing together things. It's nice because it's very much like my hotel work.
Right.
So I'm kind of treating it remember we opened that hotel together essentially?
Yeah.
Exactly like that. I'm starting from scratch. And yeah.
And it was probably kind of, whenever you start a new job, you're going to have new job jitters. And it was probably that combined with just being back out in society. You're probably just nervous in general. It was hard to compartmentalize. Is this new job nerves, or is this,
It's weird. I felt nerves, but we put into place a really good plan. So it's 3 women. We each have our own offices, one of which woman is down on the other side of the building. The bathrooms, they're locker rooms, so they're very large bathrooms to begin with. So it's not like there's only 2 stalls and 3 of us. Every 2 stalls is what we use. So we sticky note what stall we're going to use, and that's the stall we stay with. What sink we're going to use, that's the sink we stay with. So we're all touching the same shit, and nobody's touching our stuff.
Right.
And then we have a janitor that comes in every day. He's cleaning the high touch surfaces and stuff. Any vendors that I've hired, because nobody's in that center right now, which never happens. It's usually always open.
Yeah.
So now vendors are coming in and, giving me bids and stuff on bigger projects, like painting projects and things like that. We're installing plexiglass around the whole front desk area. So that's a huge project that normally, wouldn't be done.
We're doing that with my facilities as well. Facilities.
Okay. Well,
so I don't want to say what kind of facilities, because
right.
It's a dead fucking giveaway. But yeah, we're doing that. The sneeze guards is what they're called. We're doing that everywhere.
I want to hear how you guys are installing them, but
they're they're like freestanding. We're just
okay.
Yeah, and I just have to measure what the length is going to be, and then we order them, and then we'll probably use some double side tape just to kind of hold them in place a little bit, but they're not being bolted in or anything.
Okay, ours are, which I looked at the other ones, but anyway, like I said, another time. Yeah. I'm learning a lot. We have all the touchless hand sanitizer stations that we're installing. I had the carpets deep cleaned. I'm power washing the outside of the building, the pool areas, the splash pads. They're not going to be used, but that's not a decision I can make. The board of directors has to make that. The biggest issue I'm having, and again, you guys don't know where this is, so I feel like I can talk a little bit about it. The biggest issue I'm having now is my staff has been paid through this whole thing. So we've decided to just continue to pay the staff at their normal, if you do 30 hours a week, we're going to continue to pay you 30 hours a week.
Sure, because you're still getting money in from the homeowners. So why would, it's not like there's a disruption in cash flow. Why would you, yeah, okay.
Right. So, which is nice. It's very generous. Although I think some of them, we could have furloughed them and they would have been able to get unemployment. It probably would have been more money, but
right.
that's what the board of directors decided to do. So as a result, what's happening now is, as phase 4 is coming into effect, things are relaxing a little. I'm starting to call back in some of the associates to work on projects. So things, that I'm finding now as a new manager that were neglected before, updating files, stupid shit. I'm calling them and they're telling me that they've either been on vacation out of state or they're going on vacation. And what's happening is that that's causing a conflict because the people I have on site, they're being paid and required to be on site every day, right? I have to be on site. If I decide to take a week off, I'm not going to get paid. But I've got to figure out now, my associates that are at home and being paid, if they go to Michigan or Indiana for a week, they don't have to tell me, and they're still going to continue to get paid. They don't have to use their vacation time.
Right.
So I have also, they're feeling that they need to lie to me. So like, one of them I called, I said, have you been on vacation last 14, or have you gone out of state or whatever the last 14 weeks? Or I think it was just my phrasing was, have you traveled? The answer is no. I had another associate call me and be like, she lied. So like, there's all this like conflict going on.
So if someone travels, are they not allowed to come back?
So I'm following CDC guidelines of the 14-day quarantine.
Which is what?
14-day quarantine. So if you have gone out of state, traveled, so again, nobody can travel overseas right now, but you need to quarantine for 14 days because if you show symptoms, it's going to supposedly, according to the CDC, it's going to show in those 14 days. So you can't come back to work for 14 days.
Dude, I'm going out of town this weekend.
Don't tell anybody.
I mean, I just fucking said it. The good thing no one watches the show.
We've all been going through the same thing. We know 14 days is supposed to be the incubation, or however they phrase it, period of this.
Right, but Illinois has the highest amount of cases in the United States. So why would, if I went to a place with lower cases, why would I need to quarantine on my way back?
That's not the case right now. We're not spiking. All these other southern places are spiking, where our cases are actually down.
Okay.
Past, we've had the highest cases. So we were like Chicago, New York, California. We were up here.
Right.
Now we've come down significantly. I think our cases are anywhere from 400 to 600 cases a day. They can be up really high. I think they're up down to 400, if not lower, actually.
Yeah.
And deaths the other day, it was like 23 deaths. So things for Illinois are going very well because, as you know, we're one of the last to actually open up to the state before. But for instance, southern states, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, those are all spiking because they're, in the bars, inside eating. They've already moved that phase.
I did want to reach out to Megan because just to, she was down in Florida with the hotels and stuff, right, and see how bad that was, because that's supposed to be really bad down there too, but I don't know. That's
the thing. So things are spiking, and so I'm finding that my associates are, utilizing this time, which it makes sense. They're going on vacations, which my memo to them was, we're paying you to stay home and stay safe.
Right.
You need to think of this time as being on call. So if you're being paid and I call you and say I need you to come in for a project tomorrow or in the next 2 days, you need to be at the ready to come back, not vacationing somewhere in Georgia or Texas or Tennessee where these cases are spiking. This isn't a fun time to take your vacation and we pay you. So that's kind of the conflict that I'm dealing with now. And there's no playbook. So I'm making it up as I go.
And you don't know what you can enforce either. I mean, that's something that I'm seeing a lot now that the bars are starting to open back up here in Illinois. A lot of bars, and we have a lot of bartender friends and servers and people that work in the service industry. And it was interesting the way the narratives changed over the past couple months, because at first it was like, don't shut the bars down. Like, you're going to fucking kill us. How are we going to pay for everything? Don't shut the bars down. Then they shut the bars down. Everyone got unemployment. They're $1,200. And then everyone seemed like kind of okay. And then stuff was starting to open back up again. And it doesn't seem like a lot of them want to go back, There's
a couple things going on. So most people don't want to go back because they're getting paid a lot on unemployment.
Right.
In some cases, more than what they would get paid if they came back to work.
No, I know that's true for a couple different people, but isn't that running out? I thought there was a ceiling for that, and we're kind of hitting that.
It's supposed to run out, I thought, in July. So that's one issue. The next thing is that I'm actually meeting. There's a meeting through work about with our lawyers about kind of an open forum. How can we move forward legally with HR? Like what's going to be legal, what's not. The biggest issue is that, yeah, you can absolutely open. You can absolutely have people sign waivers to come into your business if that's something that, would work for your business. However, it's not going to stop people from suing. A waiver, just because you sign it, you could still sue somebody. It might not go to court,
right?
You might not win, but you still have to pay for what is it,
your lawyer's fees,
right? So that's another, really hard thing for, I manage a community of 2,500 homes. That's 5,000 plus people, at the minimum. And we have a workout facility, we have a pool, we have an open, like an actual gymnasium where you can play basketball and things like that. A lot of activities and arts and crafts. And people are just with pitchforks, coming at me, waiting in the parking lot kind of stuff, and emailing and calling. And
about what? Want services? They want
it open, period. They want the pool open. They want, and I get it, they're paying for these services within their homeowners fees. However, if you, and again, I've been in contact with lawyers and the insurance company and just being advised by them, and it's not my decision to make. It's,
right.
In this situation, it's a board of directors and they vote and they decide, but it's being advised that we don't open because think about it, 2,500 homes and you have 10% of that community decides to sue, or 2 people decide to sue. Now that money being spent on litigation is going to have to be a special assessment. If it's a lot of money, it's going to have to be a special assessment that the homeowners are going to have to eat. Or if not that, it's a pain in the ass. Let's be honest. Like, it's easier to keep everything closed in our situation than to open it. I understand the need for the gym and stuff. I'm designing a program right now to do outdoor fitness and activities, but even that, there's just so much that goes into it because people can still sue you even being outdoors because you're on the business's grounds, essentially.
Right. This sounds like a perfect topic for Lee Jacobson of JacobsonLegalServices.com.
I like how you always plug him.
That's right.
He's not even here right now, Pat.
He doesn't need to be. He's got his representative here. That's JacobsonLegalServices.com for you, though. Even when they're not in the room, they're still there. I mean, that's unprecedented legal services from JacobsonLegalServices.com.
It's interesting.
I would think, I understand what you're saying, though. Like, nothing you can do is going to stop. And this is my own, what I know about the legal process. Nothing you can do is going to stop someone else from suing. However, if you have them sign that waiver where they relinquish their right, it will.
It's not going to hold up in court. We realize that.
The waiver? Yeah, no, their lawsuit won't. And the thing is that if you have them sign the waiver, then when they take their bullshit lawsuit to some lawyer, that lawyer is going to say, I'm not going to waste my time pursuing this. You already signed a waiver. The judge is going to throw it out. You're not going to get anything. Just fucking drop it. So
unless the person says, I wasn't of sound mind when I did this, which, I mean, it would be extreme, but people do that shit all the time,
Right. Are you, go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, and what a lot of this comes down to is something that I see being, like, harped on continuously on social media. And I understand there's 2 sides to it, but the whole, like, wear a fucking mask thing. Like, I mean, you just talked about going to the gas station and wearing gloves, and I assume a mask, too, and all that stuff.
I don't wear a mask at the gas station. To me, that's stupid. I'm not around anybody else. We're outside.
I know. I see people driving with masks on, and they can't. You can tell it's affecting their vision. I don't get. You're in your fucking car, dude. But the explanation for that I've heard is that if they don't leave the house with the mask on, and then leave it on while they're out, and then take it off when they get home, then they're in a situation where they're constantly taking the mask on and off and touching things and then touching the mask, and they're doing just as much harm as they could have done good by wearing it in the first place.
I mean, honestly, I'm touching my mask all day. When I'm in my office, I pull it down below my nose because there's nobody around me in the office. But if so-and-so comes to the door to ask me a question, we both pull our masks up and we talk.
Right. That's kind of.
I understand. I'm always pulling at it because, I don't know, my face is a funny shape or something, and it always.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. It's definitely a false sense of security. I completely understand. But it also is helping me when I sneeze or that other person sneezes or coughs. You know, it's not, you know, it's not this where you're sneezing. It's a mask protecting you.
But do you, so like, maybe this is just my Twitter feed too, but like one of these things that I see on social media a lot is people just kind of randomly screaming at Twitter to wear a fucking mask, and like, you know, like COVID cases spike in Massachusetts, wear a fucking mask, you know. It's like people are though, right? Like I don't know what you're coming across, but like, granted, okay, when I go pump my gas, I'm not standing at the pump with a mask on, but like today I went inside to go get, you know, Code Red Mountain Dew and some fucking Chex Mix, and like I put my mask on, and the dude at the gas station had his mask on, and the other people buying lotto tickets and shit, they had their mask on. Like you see these like random videos on Facebook. Someone will share the video. I don't know if you saw the one about the guy in Florida going into the Walmart and he didn't have a mask on and people are trying to block him. That's obviously a fucking crazy person. And like, yes,
I mean, people are definitely, so the doors to our building are locked, but there's a doorbell. And I had a guy come to the door the other day to ask a random question. And I'm coming to the door with a mask, and I'm doing this from inside, like, where's your mask, dude? Didn't fucking get it. Didn't
really?
So I open up the door, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm wearing a mask. Where's your mask? And he's like, I just have a quick question. Well, okay, so I stood there.
Okay.
One time a guy came to the door, same thing, and I'm like, well, if you're not going to wear your mask, I'm not going to wear mine. And then I pulled mine down, you know? So it's like, so now I just tell my staff, the limited staff that's there, just say, don't answer the door, period. Because there are ignorant people that don't believe it, think smokes, don't give a shit about your safety. So why should I give a shit about your, you know, each other's safety? Or, you know, the one guy that wasn't wearing a mask and I pulled mine down, he's like, you know, I go to Wisconsin every day for work and, you know, Wisconsin's wide open. I'm like, yeah, you moron. And they're also spiking in cases. So, you know, you can't say that because everyone has their opinion. I realize I've always been the more extreme. I've always been a rule follower as well. So
what the fuck are you talking about? That's
well, for the most part, like when it comes to my public health and my safety.
Okay.
Right.
Lie. I'm still waiting.
No,
all right, go ahead.
But I, you know, here's my analogy, I guess you could say. I asked somebody, I'm like, would you let, you know, you're going in for open heart surgery. Do you expect the surgeon to wear a mask? Or how would you feel he's doing open heart surgery over you, right? And he's not wearing a mask. Would you be outraged? Because all these people are like, I don't believe in masks, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason why a surgeon wears a fucking mask. And if you are okay with signing off for open heart surgery or something where you're open up and you're exposed, because ultimately, you know, your nose and all your mucous membranes are essentially the same as if you were open, right? That's how you get viruses and shit in the first place. Like, to me, it's equivalent to the people that are like, oh, masks don't help. All right, then take all the masks away from the medical field. And how would you feel going to the doctor and they're like, sorry, we don't believe masks work anymore, or latex gloves, and we're not going to do it because we don't feel viruses spread. People would be outraged. They would freak the fuck out.
Yeah, I guess I just haven't been, this is, once again, it's just, I haven't been exposed to it. I haven't seen people really doing that kind of shit. And I guess it's more widespread maybe in different communities. Where I live, everyone would just kind of go along with it. They bitch a lot about it on Facebook, which I want to get to in a minute. But as far as like where I work is kind of up in a very culturally diverse part of Chicago, and a lot of Hispanic, a lot of Black, and everyone wears a mask when you go out. So maybe it's just like that. Those people tend to take me more seriously. You're talking about working in an area that's all upper middle class, lower upper class white people.
It's white people, but it's diverse too. I mean, the two guys that came to the door, one was, you know, a person of color and the other person was white. So it was a 50-50. They both didn't wear masks.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So it's just not my, when I see people freaking out about this on Twitter, I'm like, who the fuck isn't wearing masks though? But I guess it's
because you're in the city and I'm in the suburbs.
Okay.
Because I got so many neighbors that are flying the freaking Trump flag over here. And, you know, Trump's all about, and I don't go one way or the other. Politics isn't really my thing to begin with. But I have a neighbor specifically, I think I've referenced him before, that refuses to wear a mask, thinks it's all bullshit, thinks it's just the flu. I know quite a few people, and I think it's a suburban thing, and I think this is just my opinion, but I think it is a lot of white people don't believe in wearing the masks. But
right.
you know, who am I to say? I mean, that's what I see in my neighborhood because it's a predominantly white neighborhood, you know, and it's predominantly Republican white in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that might be something to do with it. And Chicago is spiked. Mayor Lightfoot is doing a lot of, you know, public service announcements about wearing your mask, social distancing, where out in the suburbs, we see all that, of course, but
right.
It's a little bit more do whatever the fuck you want because we're in the suburbs and we're not, you know, really close together to begin with.
Sure. So speaking of which, the next topic I wanted to get to is so I don't know. We had the one show right before the when the lockdown or when the curfews went into effect for the protesting and rioting. And that was really the last time we got together. And we were in the middle of an episode when we all got those text messages that the curfew had gone in. So that Sunday, there was a lot of civil unrest in my area. And if you went on Snapchat, you could kind of Snapchat has a map function, and you could go and you could look at the different hotspots where people were looting because they were kind enough to be Snapchatting themselves robbing the fashion bug. And you know, it wasn't anywhere directly around here, but like they, as a precaution, they shut down a lot of the Targets and the Walmarts and everything around me. They weren't afraid of like a mob kind of like descending upon the area. What they were worried about more in my neck of the woods was these kind of like targeted caravans that would show up at a place. You would have like 3 cars full of people show up. They'd all hop out. They'd start smashing windows. They'd rob the place, hop back in the car and pull off. Right. So that's what you were kind of seeing by us. It wasn't like a rolling, what you were seeing downtown with like the protests that were turning into looting and what have you. So that was that Sunday, was that we saw that all over the South Side. And I went to bed that night and was kind of like, you know, and got up at probably 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And I'm looking outside and like, everything's fine. My neighborhood's quiet, you know, and I go on Facebook. Well, and then I got a text message from my work saying, don't come in. First they had pushed us back an hour because of the curfew. And I usually work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Lightfoot's curfew ended at 6 a.m. Monday morning. So it was like, obviously you can't like fucking teleport to work. Right. So come in and work 7 to 3. And then they ended up saying, just take that Monday off. So anyway, long story short, I'm up Monday morning at like 4 a.m, not knowing what to do with myself, kind of going through the phone and seeing what happened the night before. I'm on a Facebook group for my neighborhood. And one of my neighbors has been out driving around all night doing his neighborhood watch thing. And he goes, you know, does anyone else want to take a shift cruising around the neighborhood? And he's like, his wife is like the way that a husband and wife would like text message each other or like talk to each other from across the room. They're Facebook commenting in this like thing and in our neighborhood watch or in our neighborhood Facebook, like group, right?
Community page, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'll go. Like, yeah, I'm already dressed. I was going to go to work. I'm like, I'll cruise around. So I make myself a cup of coffee and I drive around the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, there's fucking nothing going on. Of course, there's nothing going on, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, it did feel good to drive around and look.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And instead of being one of these people that like thinks there's a monster in the closet and you're laying in bed, you go up and you look in the closet, you see it's a pile of clothes, right? I've always been that type of person. So I'm not going to sit in my front room afraid of like the dark outside. I'll go drive around in the dark. I'll see there's nothing there and I'll feel better. And that's exactly what happened.
So that's your story? You found nothing?
No, it goes on for a little bit. Hold on. So I drive around and there's like nothing going on, right? So I come home And at this point, it's like 5 in the morning. And, you know, it's like summertime, so the sun's kind of starting to come up. And I go, yo, dude, like, I just drove around. I didn't see shit. Everything's fine. And he's like, okay, well, give me another 5 minutes and I'll go back out there and I'll take the next shift. And I'm like, no, I think it's okay. I think we're fine. It's daylight now. Like, nothing's going on. So I'm like, I'm going to bed, you know? I'm going back to bed. So I go back to bed. The next afternoon, so that's Monday. So Monday afternoon, he starts trying to rally the troops to get people to go out and do the watch the next night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, I actually have work on Tuesday morning, so I'm not going to do it. And his wife is like, yeah, I have to work tomorrow morning too. I won't be able to stay up all night with you, John. Like, you're going to have to find other people to do, you know. And this, we're just going to say his name is John. He's like, okay, let's all have a meet up down at, you know, the park, and we'll put together, we'll come up with shifts and stuff. And, you know, what do you guys think about setting up roadblocks for the subdivision and not letting people in?
What? Who is this guy?
Just some fucking dude. And what's
he afraid of? Like, is he saying what you're supposed to be looking for? Is it looters specifically?
Right. Well, this is what happened. So they saw a box truck driving around our neighborhood at 4:30 in the morning. Okay. Well, there's like 3 box trucks in our little subdivision, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because they're like, just, I don't know who these dudes are, but they have box trucks, like fucking, and maybe they're out robbing people, but it's not new.
Right.
Right. These box trucks have been there since day one. So he saw a box truck drive through the neighborhood, and they were afraid that these box trucks were pulling up to random houses. The doors were opening up. The Harlem Globetrotters were going to come fucking running out and then break into someone's house and robbing them, and then, you know, loading it back in the box truck and taking off. Because, like, that's the thing too, is like, realistically, like, what's this scenario that's keeping you up at night? Is that, like, there's a roving gang of like hoodlums, and they're going to target your specific house.
Yeah, why would they come to?
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. It's nonsensical. It doesn't. No, of course not. That would never fucking happen. But this is what these old people are sitting around at home keeping themselves up all night thinking about. So what he proposed is there's 2. In my subdivision, there's 1 entrance on each side, on like Cicero and Pulaski. He wanted to set up roadblocks on each of those entrances and check people coming in and out.
I'm going to guess that that's not legal.
No, of course not. and finally, we all like, we're like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, because what are we going to check IDs? I have no authority to go up to some random person. Right. I'll tell you this right now. It's probably only 10%, but there are definitely people of color that live in my neighborhood.
Yeah, they probably weren't happy.
How would I know? I'm checking someone's ID, and I'm like, okay, well, like, first of all, we have no authority to do that. That's like totally fucking legal. Right. But this is the point that people were at that Monday night, and then he's like, well, you know, I can't. He was talking about how he had a trip to Arizona golfing with his buddies that he canceled because he didn't feel safe leaving his wife at home.
So it sounds like he's got a lot of mental issues.
But here's the thing: he's a very extreme case, and the reason I brought this up is because when the COVID thing was happening, I was very plugged into all my community groups on Facebook. It was a great way to find out, like, oh, hey, the Jewel just got a new stock of toilet paper, or like, FYI, they're only letting old people in between 7 and 9. It was a great way to kind of talk and like what was going on. But once the Minneapolis thing happened, those groups turned into something completely different, and they were so fucking racist. And it was like, I didn't drop out of any of them because they're still in it. It's still like an information source, but I muted them, and I only look at them if there's something that I need to. I'm looking. I don't need that shit in my feed. Basically,
it became too much for me. I actually took a break from Facebook for about a week or so. Yeah. Because it became too much for me. You're right. It became very racist or one-sided. And if you're not with me, you're not with the people, you know, if you're not with me, you're against me kind of mentality. And, you know, I didn't feel, we all know that social media is not the best platform in general. It's opinions. There's no facts. There's no factual information. It's people passing on opinions, or maybe it started out as a fact and it becomes a game of telephone, right? Yeah. And that's what frustrates me, because it's just so much misinformation because it's been passed down people over people over people. I deleted a shit ton of people that were acquaintances, people that I don't agree with, they were racist in one way or the other. They were either like extremely, you know, for or against the subject. And I sit somewhere in the middle. And I realized that I'm a white woman who maybe doesn't exactly know everything there is to know about specifically Black history or people of color in general's history, right? And I realize we don't learn that in the schools. And I'm an opinionated person to begin with, but I'm also open to learning things. So if somebody were to be like, yo, that's totally not right, here's the facts, I will listen, and then I will take that fact and I'm happy to pass it on and remember it and whatever. But I actually had somebody that reached out to me, said, hey, I want to call you and basically school you on all this. And we had a heated debate. I wouldn't call it an argument, but we listened to both sides, and I was able to speak openly to this person of color, ask all my stupid, dumb white questions, and, you know, they were able to give me answers back as to why they felt the way they did about the situation, and I was able to tell them how I felt about the situation. And there were moments that it was heated, but in the end, we were able to speak about it openly. And I think that was the best experience I had, and I think that's where I learned, turn off the social media.
Right.
Let's have real discussions with real people. Don't be mad at the white person because they asked a stupid question. Help them understand. And I've had people like, well, I shouldn't have to explain it to you. No, you do need to explain it to me, because otherwise I'm going to think that my way is right for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know, because you're not explaining to me why it's not right. So definitely it was a subject where I was like, it's too touchy. I don't really talk about it anymore. I don't really comment on Facebook, especially, or any social media platform about it. I just, you know, it's not really my place, but at the same time, it's affecting me. So I still can have an opinion about it. So that's probably been the most difficult thing about the whole George Floyd. And after we did our podcast, you know, there wasn't backlash about the podcast necessarily. It was just backlash like, you know, this is how I feel as a person of color versus this is how I feel as a white Caucasian, you know, person.
Right.
And there's so much tension on Facebook. I was just like, I got to get out of it.
Well, I feel like a lot of it is because most people that are like us that have a nuanced view, that have kind of we're not one polar extreme, we tend to kind of keep our mouths shut and our ears open. Mm-hmm. And it's the people that they're at way at one extreme or the other that tend to be the most vocal and kind of narcissistic. Like, they tend to be the most like, I'm fucking right, oh, you people are fucking wrong. I deleted people from Twitter just this week because I couldn't listen to their fucking bullshit anymore. And it was people that ideologically I agree with for the most part. It was people that were, you know, I consider myself liberal. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I mean, I would definitely put myself in that category. And these are people that were liberal as well that were nauseating. I couldn't fucking listen to them. And these are people that vote the same way I do. I mean, if you really want to, in a two-party system, you're either A or you're B. These people vote the same way I do, and at the end of the day, I found them more offensive because they're so fucking all the way over here. They're not. There's no room for discourse. There's no room for dissenting opinion. Any question to the fucking bumper sticker ideology that they're fucking spouting, you're immediately labeled that I'm ignorant, or I'm fucking stupid, or I'm paranoid, or I'm an idiot, or I'm this or that, all negative stuff because you ask questions or because you have a different opinion, or you say, hey, what about this, you know?
It's too much for me, and I just actually saw myself out of it. Like I said, I took a little break, and you know, going back to work helps that. You know, you got to think about it. There's a huge percentage of people that aren't at work, have shit to do.
Well, that's the problem.
Or protesting and talking shit on Facebook.
There's a huge percentage of people that never had shit to do. And when I looked at like these two people in particular that I deleted, I mean, dude, not to be fucking classist, but like probably not gonna have health insurance. Like, you know what? How do I put this? Just are barely.
Yeah, I think it's.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to say it without sounding like an asshole. They're not career minded.
It's usually the people that have like a shit job, no goals in life, and they like to stir up trouble. Like most of the people that are sitting there talking shit that I know, I'm like, all right, your goal in life is to become a rapper at the age of 40. Like to call people out, like your goal is to be a rapper at 40. Not all of, my rapper friends are like that, but I'm just saying, like, and right now all you're trying to do is stir up basically you're trying to stir up shit to promote your new album that's about Black Lives Matter. So, like specifically your album is, your song is BLM and your other song is coronavirus. Like, no, that's what
that's the B side. That's the B side.
The whole time. And now you're going to tell me what I should think. And, it's, I mean, I'm an asshole, but that's just what I'm thinking. I'm like looking at these folks. And then again, it's not everyone. And a lot of people had good points, but there's a couple in my mind where I'm like, really, dude? Like, really? You sit at home in your mother's basement recording studio like all day.
Oh, one of the dudes talks mad shit and he fucking Twitch DJs fucking music videos that he burns off YouTube. And it's like, and he's got a neck tattoo and he's like, why can't I find work? It's like,
neck tattoo, will you give him my number?
No, I will kill both.
DJs and neck tattoos.
No. But no, I'm not shitting on people that have creative ambition. I mean, I think obviously the reason we do this is from some kind of creative ambition, and I'm involved with fucking tons of stuff, and I'm a creative person. I understand creative expression, but there's a difference between people that are like actively pursuing their creative endeavors and people that are bottom feeders and that are like there's a difference between like, hey, look, like I self-publish novels and I'm trying to make it as a writer, and like I'm doing like investigative journalism pieces, and I do like movie reviews for horror websites, right? Just like there's a difference between like I'm a musician, like I write and produce and record my own music, I collaborate with other artists, and like, I'm a Twitch DJ. Like there's a fucking hierarchy, and I hate to be classist. It's not all the fucking same. And you can judge other people's ambition and you can judge their work ethic based on what their output is. And sometimes some people go through rough spells or whatever, but I mean, these aren't people that were new to me. These people I fucking know, and I know lazy motherfuckers from like people that are really out there hustling and busting their ass trying to make something, and trying to be creative and love creating for the joy of creation. They don't create for the fucking applause, right?
Man, everyone knows that we're assholes.
Now they're figuring that out. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
And it's the people that are just that do it for the applause, the fucking bottom feeders, and they're the ones that are going to sit there and try to slam dunk on every single. That's all they want to do when they go on Twitter all day is try to fucking slam dunk this person, try to slam dunk that person,
and fucking sad. It's
talk
sad
shit.
Because most of those people have not even graduated. They haven't gone to college, but yet they're preaching about the history and. I know this and I know that. I'm like, dude, like you didn't even finish high school in most cases, and you definitely didn't go to college in most cases. So unless you're a doctor or somebody with some sort of credentials, what are you doing? Like just, or at least preface it and say, this is in my opinion, not this is it or nothing.
Just all caps, fuck you, I'm right, fuck you if you disagree, fuck you, you're wrong. And that's the thing too, is like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I would not consider myself a Trump supporter by any stretch of the imagination, but the people that like go on Twitter and like every time Trump posts something, they'll comment on it like you're a fucking asshole. And it's like, or something a little bit maybe more creative or specific to whatever he's talking about. And I just think like, that he's not reading that, number one. Number two, the only people that are reading this are the people that follow you, that are seeing your little fucking quips. So really, you're taking shots at Trump for the benefit of your followers, who are most likely 99.9% already not Trump supporters. So it's like you're playing to a captive audience. You're preaching to the choir. Like, am I supposed to think you're some kind of revolutionary because Trump tweeted something about the economy and you tweeted back, fuck you? Like, that's not very clever. You're not gonna land a job writing fucking content for the Daily Show with that shit. Like, what's your fucking goal here? Is to sit there and take fucking shots at somebody that couldn't care less about anything that you ever fucking will do in your whole entire life. Like, it's just, this is like where we're at right now. And the thing is, like, I love Twitter I love Twitter for so many different reasons. I think it's an excellent news source. I think when shit like this does happen with the riots and stuff, it's a great way to figure out what's going on in different parts of the country right away. Um, Sometimes it can be really funny, and sometimes it's a great way to like connect and like harass celebrities and stuff. But I think there's the downside to it too, is just like with any social media is the group think.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been seeing more of anything lately, and it's like nauseating the fuck out of me. Like I would, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this too, because we could sit here and talk for an hour, and we could fucking talk about shit, and not turn it into like us tweeting back and forth, fucking pictures, and I don't know, whatever. I'm rambling.
Anyway, I agree with you. Social
Sorry.
media is not the way to go, but
yeah.
New subject, because that one I could talk about all night and bitch about.
Yeah, that's what I tried. So the firework conspiracy, the 4th of July is coming up.
What is that about? You like messaged me about it, and there's definitely this like hillbilly neighbor of mine across the street.
The one just went off right now, I swear to God, as soon as I fucking said that.
I've got this neighbor across the street. He's kind of like hillbilly, ex-military. He was like a Marine or some shit, and he's got this like old Marine friend, and I don't know what the point of it is. I mean, it's just, it upsets everyone in the neighborhood. It upsets all the animals in the neighborhood, and they're constantly doing it. And number one, where are you getting all these fireworks? Like, you must keep an arsenal of fireworks in
Indiana. But here's the big question. Yeah. Because that not to go back to the previous topic, but that was something I got into shit with people on the internet earlier this week, is because I was like, oh, has anyone heard anything about this? What's your take on it? And a bunch of people were very condescending about like, oh, you're fucking crazy. There's no firework conspiracy. There's nothing going on. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I talk to people all over the country, and they're all saying the same thing.
All over the same, like, you have the community feed. Like, I literally was just reading before we started this, same thing on my community feed. The fireworks this, and this is the law now, and people are...
Well, the Tribune posted something this morning saying that 911 complaints about fireworks.
Didn't I send that to you?
736%. Yeah. So now there's fucking blowing them off right now. I swear to God.
I'm doing it here tonight. Usually, and I don't even get the pretty ones. We get like the M80s that just rock the house.
Well, that's why I want to start going out there and looking, because I'm like, I don't even. It sounds like maybe it's M80s, maybe it's mortars, but it's definitely like the booms. When you get a boom like that, either it's going to be a quarter stick or it's got to be a mortar. But if it's a mortar, you'll see something in the sky. But yeah, no. So they're definitely up. Like, that's the thing, is that people were just like, you're fucking crazy. And I'm like, no.
Or just the calls up, because I don't know about you. And again, I live not in the boonies, but I live further west than you do. And around July 4th, just, before and after, people have these all the time. Like, to me, it's nothing new, because we're getting close to the 4th of July.
I mean, you've lived in that house for a while. I've only been here 3 years, right? And I'd have to say what I've noticed is like a day or two before, and then maybe the day after. You're talking about like a 4-day window for me, where there's a lot of activity
throughout the summer. So for me, it gears up, like you said, for me, I think it's like a week before the 4th of July, 2 weeks before, and then after the 4th of July, people are just using up their fireworks. They're just,
we're
fireworks. It's like these quarter stick of dynamite.
Right now, we're at a week and a half out, right? So we're recording this on the 24th, and I mean, so as of today, we have a week and a half.
Yeah.
And this shit's been going on, I'd say, at least for a week before. Right. So we're talking about 3 weeks out before for them to start. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I've only lived in this house for 3 years. So
to me, it's very normal. And
okay.
My take on it is that people are sitting home. Normally you'd be at work, or maybe you'd be in bed by now. Who knows? If you have a work schedule, whatever it is. There's just so many people with time on their hands that are setting them off, probably. But I don't feel like it's escalated any more than previous years. But I do think more people are complaining about it because they got time on their hands and they're noticing things that they haven't noticed before.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't just backing away from this one a little bit. I did not originate the firework conspiracy that this was. I had just said to myself, like, God damn, they're blowing off fireworks a lot. And then I saw more other people saying it online. And then I saw on Twitter that people thought that there was some kind of conspiracy where it was ways to disrupt the community or something like that. I don't know. But I will say that, like, as soon as then I heard about the conspiracy, of course, my ears perked up and I looked into it, and it seemed kind of, the official explanation seemed a little goofy, to where they thought that it was a way to kind of destabilize urban areas by not letting people sleep at night.
Yeah, I
Which,
read that article, and I think that's
it
bullshit.
doesn't make any sense to
I
me
can
because,
sleep right through that shit, no problem.
right, I mean, or that it was some kind of like psyop, or I don't know what the fuck it is, but I think it, even if it's just, well, I guess the one thing that I thought was interesting from our perspective is, like you said earlier, fireworks are not legal here in Illinois. They've, not that they're impossible to get, but it takes a little bit of effort. You have to drive across state lines and buy them and drive them back. And it's not like they're checking fucking trunks at the border or anything, but
Right.
it's not as simple as going to 7-Eleven and picking up, a 12 pack of Bud Lights, some White Owls, and some bottle rockets. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? You do have to make a concerted effort to go get them from somewhere.
Right. But we're not too far. I mean, think about it. We're 45 minutes.
It's less than an hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's no big deal to load up on that stuff. And people, have them year after year. There used to be neighbors when I was growing up. They would have a huge 4th of July party. They had a pool. The whole block would basically be at their house. And they would get these giant ass fireworks, these sticks of dynamite. And I remember we'd bring them to, like, there was like a baseball field close to the house. And we'd all, like, once it got dark, we're like, okay, we're all going to go to the baseball field. And the guys, the dads, young dads thought it was so cool. And they would like fit them into like a 2-liter Coke bottle or whatever, and then they'd light them and set them off and run, and all the
You gotta run.
So cool. You're right.
If you don't run, it's not
Right.
fun.
No. But I mean, even as kids, we'd get what is that, black cats, the little red ones, and we'd light them and throw them, and we would have a lot of fun. But it's somebody bringing them back, and like you said, nobody's chucking trunks, so it's not hard to get your.
I do it every year. I mean,
people get illegal firearms, so and illegal drugs. I mean, you can get whatever the fuck you want in Illinois. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I bring them back from Indiana every year. I'm actually going this weekend. I'm stocking up.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'm a firework girl. Like, I'm not into setting them off.
But my father-in-law, obviously he lives out there, and he's like, oh, it's like lighting up $100 bills, because it's like, what you're spending. I always spend like $200-300, and then like, yeah, oh dude, I get the good shit. Fireworks are like, it's.
Do you get the ones that actually like make colors, like sparkle and all that, or do you just get the loud ones?
Okay, so we'll start at the end and we'll work back. So the first thing I got to get is a grand finale, right? And the grand finale ones are like the size of like a thing of milk, like a gallon of milk, or like a little bit, like 2 gallons of milk. Like, it's a big fucking like octagon. And
like different fuses, or are they all the same?
There's one big fuse, but it's like usually a battery or something, or it's a bunch of mortars, right?
Okay.
That's going to be like $80, or 80 to like 100, 120. But that's the grand finale. So you get one big thing of that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to want to get, usually there's like a long rectangular like kit that you can get with a bunch of different mortars in there. Now that's the tubes, and then it looks like a grenade with a wick, and you put the mortar shell in the tube, and then you light it, and you run away, and then
Where do you set these off? Behind your house?
Usually I'm in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
But this year we can't. There's no one.
Over.
What?
Come on over. Nobody on my block gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, is that I'm still gonna get them this weekend, but I was gonna probably get a third of what I normally get, just because we were gonna do it around here. And then
get a block together and do your own show. I guarantee you there are going to be blocks that are going to do their own show, because here in my neighborhood, I'm by the Arlington racetrack, so like where the horses race. I don't know who's familiar with that, but and they put on a show every year where they charge you to get in. So
right.
you pay like $20 a person to get into the grandstands at the park. But us in my neighborhood, because we're like across the street, we all bring our lawn chairs out. Like, we all have parties every year with all of our families and friends, and then we know that at the end of the night, at, dusk, they're gonna have this huge show. So we all bring our lawn chairs to the front, and like, you'll have a lot of people in the community that didn't get tickets. They'll just pull up on our on our street. They'll pull out their chairs and people are just like on random people's sidewalks, just all watching the show from our houses. So, I mean, this year, I kind of have a feeling like there's a lot of people that are pissed that we're not getting fireworks show because they're like, well, we can still socially distance and watch the fireworks show. Which isn't necessarily true because you're really just would be putting it on for those people that live in the neighborhood wherever they're putting the show on.
Right, and they're not collecting money from those people anyway.
Right.
If the racetrack isn't open and they can't collect money at the gate, then why the fuck would you even bother?
Which actually, the racetrack is open, but it's spectatorless. So they're going to open like I think in time for 4th of July, if not.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, mark my words. I think there's going to be like people like you that are like, hey, I'll go to Indiana. Everybody on the block put in $50 or whatever. We'll do the show for the kids ourselves. That's what I would do. If I wasn't afraid of getting caught and whatever, and I was into fireworks, that would be what I would do.
Dude, if I could do my life over again, there's a couple of things that I could see like one of the many different like multiverse pedos is definitely some guy that like does firework displays for Leonard Skinner and racetracks and like carnivals.
Pyrotechnics kind of.
Yes, like definitely.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like some dads in the neighborhood that get together and.
Well, that's what I am now already, but I'm talking about like professionally, like probably making like 35 grand a year. Who gives a shit? I smoke a ton of dope. I have a sweet ass trailer, and I just cruise around the country like blowing shit up like on boats.
That's called carny. That's like a carnival.
No, because I'd want to do like when Leonard Skinner plays the corn dog circuit. Like I'd follow them around. It'd be like their official fucking firework guy.
There might still be hope for you.
No, I at this point I can't. I have too much overhead. It would never work now.
Too much overhead. Fine. But yeah, so I like I said, mark my words. I think there's going to be communities that are going to put on their own damn show, whether the police and the village or whatever likes it or not.
Right.
There's probably going to be an influx of injury due to fireworks this year as well. So we'll see how that all pans out, and we'll talk about it on the next episode.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. No other questions? You got any questions for me specifically? I know, like burning questions.
I don't know. What should I ask you? What do you want to get asked?
I don't want to. You don't want to. I don't want to disclose anything. I like to remain a mystery.
Okay. So, all right. So, what do you think? So now this will be the last show of June. What do you think for July? Do you think we should keep doing the Zoom thing, or do you want to try to get together and start doing like podcast stuff again? Or
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I think on location would be really fun to do something maybe from a bar or where we can like talk to people at the bar. You know. I am a fan of social distancing still, but obviously I'm a little more opened up. I don't think going out of state to Bratstop or somewhere in Indiana is really.
Oh yeah, we were gonna do that. I ended up going to Bratstop. I went there this weekend.
Was it crowded? Was it crowded?
Oh yeah, it was the most crowded. So I've realistically, I've only been to Bratstop like probably a half dozen times in my whole entire life.
It smells funny in there, right? I just want to get that, like it smells musty or something. You notice it?
Well, it's because it's not well ventilated, and it's like you're always
like beer that's like maybe spilled on the ground, and maybe some cheese curds that they.
Right, it's very damp. It's very damp in there.
Is that the smell of Kenosha or specifically Bratstop? Exactly. You don't know.
Kenosha, I do know. Unfortunately, I've been all over Kenosha. Yeah, it's the Bratstop. It's that building. That thing's fucking. Who knows how old?
So I know we don't have a ton of like listeners or followers, and we really just do this for ourselves, and our close friends. But I want to promote. There's a place called Icky Ricky's. Google it, find it, map it out. It is down the street, if you will, down the street from Bratstop. It's actually wherever Mars Cheese Castle is. That road. If you take it east, you pretty much will run into Icky Ricky's. So
east.
Yes, towards the lake.
Okay.
Icky Ricky's was brought up to me by a friend, random ass friend that I met like through Instagram. Really weird. We bonded over punk music. This was a while ago. So he's like, yeah, meet up at Icky Ricky's. You guys gotta check this place out. And I was with a couple other friends. So we all meet up there. It looks like a bar out of a Rob Zombie movie. Like, do you remember what was it, Pussy Lickers? But liquor spelled like liquor. Do you watch the Rob Zombie movies?
I've seen them all like once.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's like this really, so there was a scene, I think it was a strip club in the Rob Zombie movie, but it was called Pussy Liquors.
Okay.
And it's like a sleazy ass bar in the middle of nowhere, if I'm remembering this correctly. But Icky Ricky's is like that. So it's on the corner of nothingness. It's fields all the way around. It's a gravel parking lot. It's Ricky, I think, lives on site, and he's I guess you would say, an inventor. So you go in, it's definitely a locals only. They have a chicken coop in the back, and inside, one of the weird things they have is chicken shit bingo. So they go out, if there's enough people in the bar, they go out to the back, pick up a fucking chicken, bring it into this big cage, and on the bottom of the cage are numbers or whatever, like bingo number letters. And wherever the chicken shits, if you pick that, you win. Like, you know what I mean? You get bingo. So because chickens, I guess they shit a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So chicken shit bingo. They have a pole, and like a random ass stripper pole in the middle of it. But the coolest thing is that he's like this inventor guy. And at the actual bar, he's devised this invention. That's all I can use for it. You sit at the bar, and it's all made out of PVC pipe. Okay. And you get for $2, you get a roll of nickels, and you have to. And some of the nickels are marked. They're marked with different colors. Okay. So like if it's like orange, you get an extra roll of nickels or whatever. And you take these nickels and you throw them. They're above the bar into these PVC pipes, which you're drinking. You're not exactly close. You're throwing them into these PVC pipes, but they're weighted. So the more nickels that get into this PVC pipe, basically the idea is that it's going to eventually be weighted to where all the nickels will come out and you'll win money. So it's the coolest thing. It's so random. It's like this roadside weird ass attraction type bar. They keep threatening to close down because obviously there's not a lot of people out in that area anyway to go to the bar, but then it's also like this trashy roadside attraction.
Sounds pretty badass. Yeah.
We're going, and I want everyone to know that if you're in the area, Google it, make sure they're still open, because I know they were threatening to close. I think the airport was expanding or something. There's like a little municipality.
Yeah, there is. And Mars Cheese Castle's huge now too. Have you been there since that?
Oh yeah. I love Mars Cheese Castle. I went there I think in January or something. It was recent. I took a friend of mine there, and it's just not the same as what.
No, it's not.
It's too commercialized. I like it still. I mean,
well, they're trying to do the brat stop thing. I mean, Mars Cheese Castle used to be like a shack on the side of the fucking frontage road, and that's it. And now it's like a restaurant bar type deal.
If you go just south of the Mars Cheese Castle, there's a house, and they sell. It's like a farm type house, and they sell beef sticks that are better than Mars Cheese Castle. So I usually get my cheese from Mars Cheese Castle, like the curds, and then I go over and get the beef sticks from the other place. They sell cheese curds too, but
I didn't know you were such a Kenosha connoisseur.
I like weird shit. I go all over. I go strawberry picking out west. I go blueberry picking in just over
Michigan.
I think it's called Indiana City, Michigan, because it's right.
Michigan City, Indiana.
Sorry, the other way around. But yeah, I go wherever the fun goes. Like I went to a sunflower farm last year, like out near Love's Park, I think it was. Like
Rockford.
I like weird shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Rock Cut State Park and rented like a little, canoe or whatever. But I can tell you so many things like in Illinois. I think a lot of people just think Illinois is Chicago or Illinois is Springfield. But there's so much more, not to get corny, but there's just so much more like weird shit you wouldn't expect.
So maybe that's the next phase for the podcast is we start going to these weird places now that they're opening back up again.
All the weird places, all my favorite weird places.
Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna close out for this episode. After this, we're gonna cut to a music video from Ash Nerve, "Live for the Fantasy." Ash is the co-host of one of my favorite podcasts out right now, The Boys Bible Study. It's where these dudes kind of review Christian media, TV shows and movies that if you grew up in the faith, you'll be familiar with, that are absolutely hysterical. So David and Goliath, all of the Kirk Cameron
cartoon David and Goliath, or was it like claymation? It
was claymation. Actually, they don't spend too much time on that, but like all the Kevin Sorbo movies or the Kirk Cameron movies, or just all of those like straight to video, just Christian cinema things like that. Or a lot of them are on Amazon Prime for free, so it's really cool because you'll listen to the podcast and they'll totally like trash like one of the movies, and then you just go on Amazon and watch it for free, and it's awesome. Right. But yeah, so Boys Bible Study, check out that podcast and check out this music video from the co-host Ash Nerve, Live for the Fantasy, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Your face again, click through my friends, my phone, it rings, your voice, it stings. In late nights, you know me, your pictures all show me, but reach out and can't touch, will I ever feel that head rush? You got me going crazy, baby. Live in a society. I can feel myself spiraling again. I know that you're not really my friend, but I live for the fantasy, and fantasy loves company. My pocket, never leave my side. Don't blame me or get angry, I'm not changing, it's the same me. You got me going crazy, baby. We live in a society. I can feel myself spiraling again. I know that you're not my friend, but I live for the fantasy, and fantasy loves company. Everything you do, yeah babe, it's all for you, but you don't have a clue, I'm nothing to you. Looking through the broken glass, my fantasy crashed. When I drop it on the floor, you're not mine anymore. I can feel myself spiraling again. I know that you're not really my friend, but I live for the